Alright, welcome to a continuation of lesson 2.3. We're going to be writing equations of quadratics, this time in intercept form or factored form. So if you remember, intercept form is going to be talking about the x-intercepts. So in example 3, you have a meteorologist creating a parabola to predict the temperature tomorrow, where x is the number of hours after midnight and y is the temperature in degrees Celsius. So we want to write a function f that models the temperature over time. So since I have my x-intercepts, why don't we write it in factored form or intercept form, which looks like the following. So I'm going to start with f of x equals, I don't know my a value again, but I do know my x-intercepts are 4 and negative 24, so when you write them in their equation, they're going to switch signs to be x minus 4 and then parentheses x minus 24. And so that would be our function in factored form. Now, to figure out my a value and get my final answer, you are going to need to use a point. And so again, I'm going to use my y-intercept that they gave me to find my a value. So here's my y-intercept. Remember, x is going to be 0, and then y is going to be 9.6. So I'm going to take those two numbers and substitute them into my equation to find my a value. F of x is a fancy way of saying y, so we're going to start off with 9.6 on the left side. Equals, don't know my a value, and I'm going to put 0 in place of x both times. So I'd have 0 minus 4 and then 0 minus 24. And so the next thing I need to do is solve. And so order of operations, to your parentheses first. So 0 minus 4 is negative 4, 0 minus 24 is negative 24. And so then bring a down and then bring 9.6 down. Order of operations, say multiply next. So I'm going to multiply negative 4 by negative 24 to get 96. And then again, just put the a behind your number and then drop down 9.6. My last step would be to divide by whatever is next to your a. So divide by 96 on both sides. And so 9.6 divided by 96 would give you 0.1. And so our a value is 0.1. So again, to find our final answer, I'm going to take this equation, put 0.1 where the a is, and I would be done. So my final equation would be f of x equals 0.1. Parentheses x minus 4, x minus 24. And so that is how you would write the equation in factored form, which is best if they give you the x-intercepts. All right, let's look at part D. Part D says, what is the coldest temperature? And so that would be the lowest point, which would be the vertex. My scroll button needs to work. So I'm trying to find the minimum or the vertex of this problem up here. And I've got factored form. And to find the vertex of factored form, you're going to need to find the middle. Now, you can either count the middle. This one might be a little bit hard. You can also add your x's and divide by 2, if that is an easier way of finding the middle. So my x's would be a 24 and a 4. So I'm going to say 24 plus 4. And then to find the middle of them, I would cut them in half or divide by 2. So 28 divided by 2 is 14. So I know my vertex is at 14 something. I just don't know how low my temperature would be. But from the graphing module, I have an equation, I have an x value. So I'm going to plug in 14 into this equation, and that will tell you your output. So I would have 0.1, 14 minus 4, and then 14 minus 24. So I'll give you guys a second to type that in the calculator and get an answer. So negative 10 is what your calculator should have given you. And so what that means is my y part of my vertex is at negative 10. So what does this mean? This means that at hour 14, and again we started at midnight, so 14 hours at midnight would be about 2 p.m. So about 2 p.m. we're going to reach our lowest temperature of negative 10 degrees Celsius. Cool. All right, let me know if you have any questions on how to find the vertex of factored form. But we're going to talk about average rate of change again. So we're going to talk about average rate of change of when the temperature is decreasing, and then we're going to talk about where it is increasing. So if I look back at my graph, the temperature is decreasing. So if I trace this graph with my pencil, it is decreasing all the way up until my vertex, which I just found is 14, negative 10. So I'm going to use my y-intercept and my vertex for the decreasing. So my y-intercept was 0 and 9.6, and then my vertex was 14 and negative 10. So to find average rate of change again, it is a formula. It is a slope formula, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So you're going to plug in your points and solve. So what I want you guys to do is finish problem E and then go ahead and do problem F, which wants to know the rate of change where it is increasing. So press pause and try these on your own. All right. So after plugging in our problem, I would have negative 10 minus 9.6, which is going to give you negative 19.6 over 14 for a final answer of negative 1.4. And again, that number makes sense because it is decreasing, should be negative. To find the average rate of change where it is increasing from the vertex and on, which would be our x-intercept. So we're going to use our vertex, and then we're going to use our x-intercept of 24, 0. So again, same formula, plug in the equation. This one is a little bit trickier because you have minus a negative. So you would have 0 minus negative 10. And if you remember, two negatives make a positive. So this is essentially 0 plus 10. 10 divided by 10 is a 1. And so the average rate of change is positive, which makes sense because it is increasing. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions on the average rate of change or how to find the interval, etc., etc. But now you are finished with lesson 2.3, and your practice for today is located on Canvas. So it is a Big Ideas math textbook because Delta Math just wasn't good for this section. So if you click on Big Ideas on the home page or on Canvas, it'll take you there. You are going to do 8 questions. You have unlimited check answer buttons. And on number 5, there's some issue with number 5 last year, and I can't remember exactly what it is. It has to do with the number 1, and if you put it or if you don't put it. So I can't remember, but try and figure it out. And then a heads up of where we're going. Next class is a practice day, review day, or makeup day because you have a quiz coming up on the 17th or 18th. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.